This is going to be exciting, and we're not going to waste any time. We're going to go ahead and get started here, Natalie, with Owen Johns of West Virginia.
Now the men will do 6 total dives, 1 from each category, a front, a back, a reverse, an inward, and a twister, and they'll also double up on a group. No particular order. Owen Johns starting with an inward 2.5 somersault tuck. He gets in vertical, a nice clean entry on the 3-meter springboard. You're going to want to start to listen for that rip noise, and that's the noise that your hands make when your palm hits the water flat on the surface and you just find yourself through that hole that the diver creates in the water to try and make as little splash as possible.
So there is Paul Lenz, another Mountaineer. 4 Mountaineers in this championship final.
That's right. Paul Lenz actually holds the school record in the 3-meter with a 396.98 for West Virginia. And he also starts with the inward category. No rhyme or reason. The divers can start in any order. And that's the beauty of diving. It's how you want it. If you want to start with a front or a twister or an inward, you can do just that.
So here's Nick Cover.
Something that Carla Helder, his coach, said about Nick Cover is she wants him to channel and monitor those energy levels. Nick Cover just has so much energy and passion. And you can see he just over-rotates on this inward 2.5 somersault and tuck position. It's always better to over-rotate slightly than to go short and not fully complete the dive.
Up next, we have Cardinal Tremblay, your 4th Mountaineer this first round. Mountaineers picking up big points over TCU in the team race.
You'll notice his lines. He's so tall. He's the tallest man in the competition at 6'1". That is really tall for a diver. And he's also from Ontario. You can see he has so much height, his long legs and beautiful lines as he enters the water. So clean and just so much control for such a tall man.
Special watching him on the 3-meter. It's not often you hear the place just go completely silent when someone's on the board. And here's Owen Johns, West Virginia. Great second round dive.
Very beautiful forward 3.5 somersault in the tuck position. Gets so much height, rides the springboard, gets above the 5-meter platform and just lines it up. He has shown so much growth and improvement in his diving from when we saw him last year.
So there's Paul Lenz.
Same dive, you can see on his hurdle, his feet did not get to the edge of the springboard. You always want to get to the end of the board, causing him to have to make some slight adjustments in the air. And he washes just past vertical, his feet ever so slightly going by in that entry. And the judges will deduct some points for that, but he does walk away with 6s.
There's Nick Cover, his teammate from West Virginia.
Ooh, that was a scary hurdle, Kyle. He did not have control at the edge of that springboard. He didn't quite get his arms all the way through, you'll see that, but he didn't panic, he didn't stop. He could have balked, which means the diver stops and gets deducted 2 points for not doing the dive, but he didn't do that. He followed through with the dive and actually went past vertical. He receives 5s on that dive. That was also a forward 3.5, but in the pike position. And you can see in his hurdle, which is when the diver walks to the end of the springboard. He had a solid takeoff and pikes out just above the water, receiving 6.5.
Owen Johns will start us off with round 3, your men's 3-meter championship final.
Forward 2.5 somersault in the pike position, a lower degree of difficulty dive in this competition. And for a dive like this, the judges really have high expectations because it is a lower degree of difficulty. So they expect him to show that control, to really square out of that dive and line it up, which is exactly what Owen Johns did. He got 6.5s and 7s.
There's his teammate Paul Lenz.
Kyle, I talked about this yesterday. It's always about the back and reverse category, and the name of the competition is who can nail those dives, who can be consistent at those dives. And you can see he found his spot. His legs just slightly over-rotate. These men have so much power, they're so strong, and they're able to capitalize on that.
Here's Nick Cover of West Virginia.
Doing a full out, you can see on his hurdle, which is when he walked to the edge of the springboard. His legs just slightly buckled just a little bit, but it just goes to show you how strong and consistent these men are, that they can just complete the dive to its full capacity. He receives 5.5 and 6s on that dive.
There's Cardinal Tremblay with his round 3 dive.
Cardinal Tremblay, as I said, an Ottawa, Ontario native. He's a unique athlete, raised in Canada, dove club with camo, super disciplined, Carla Helder told me. And he has a combination of both fast and slow twitch muscles. He is such a unique athlete and knows how to use them properly.
Still in the lead over his teammate Noah Dupere. Starting off round 4 is Owen Johns of West Virginia.
Now, Kyle, these West Virginia men, they had home pool advantage last year, but coming to a new pool, diving is all about visualizing, seeing your spots, knowing the diving boards. And these men are diving so well tonight in the finals from West Virginia. They're just so consistent.
So, Natalie, what are a couple of those visuals and those spots that they're looking for? For example, when Wendell's doing a 4.5, I think a lot of us at home, we would just be getting dizzy.
There are so many visuals, the board, the water, a spot on the wall. You don't want to see the ceiling. That's never a good sign.
Up next is Paul Lenz of West Virginia.
Reverse twister. Really solid dive. Very nice dive for Paul Lenz. Shows control. This is a high degree of difficulty dive, a reverse 1.5 with 2.5 twists. You can see he finds that beautiful balance where he is at the perfect position, right in line with the judges. He's not too close to the springboard, not too far away. So the judges rewarded him with that dive. They gave him 7s and 6s.
Good dive there from Lenz from West Virginia. Up next is his teammate, Nick Cover.
See, he found his visual references on that dive, keeping his head in line on the takeoff, getting into that tight little tuck. You can see his eyes are down. He keeps his head down on the start, squeezes the tuck, pikes out finds that spot on the wall, kind of near the top of the wall, and just lines it up. And you know Carla's liking this dive because it's a reverse category, and he nailed it. He got 54.60 points on that dive.
Up next, your final Mountaineer of this fourth round, Jacob Cardinal Tremblay.
Same dive, a reverse 2.5 somersault in the tuck position. You can see Jacob Cardinal Tremblay went a little further out of the pool that Nick Cover did. But as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he is a taller man, so he finds his balance and his comfort level with where he is in relation to the springboard. It's all about that rhythm, and he's showing composure in this dive. Tightens his core and squeezes on the come out to go right past vertical, finds his hole in the water and rips the entry.
Not bad at all. And we are getting ready for this fifth round here. That is Owen Johns of West Virginia.
Solid dive. He just over-rotates on the entry, but he's so strong and he showed so much improvement from last year. Owen Johns is just a sophomore, the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania native. This is a hard dive, a reverse in the pike position. You want to not get too close to the springboard, but you don't want to go too far out. And Owen Johns knows just where to be. They're feeling his forehead. He's too hot, right? He's diving too good.
There is Paul Lenz. And Natalie, how close really is too close to the springboard? Because I know, when we're watching at home, sometimes we'll kind of wince up when they get a little bit too close.
I would say if you watch the dive and you almost jolt back a little bit, almost seeing a toe or a finger almost grace the springboard, that is just too close. But these men in this competition haven't come anywhere close to the springboard. And that was just a picture perfect dive and come out. Wow, that was a really nice back 2.5 for Paul Lenz. He got 8s on it.
So there's Nick Cover, his teammate.
Doing a back 2.5 somersault tuck, standing backwards. He starts getting the momentum. He wants that momentum of the springboard. It's flexible. You want to utilize the springboard to get as much power as possible. Very nice dive. Very nice dive. Cover almost has a lot of energy in this finals tonight. You can see it in his diving. He's completing his dives. If anything, just going a little bit past vertical. He received 6s on that dive, a total of 50.40 points. You can see he's going over his come out right there. He wants to pike out more of the dive to stop it from rotating. That way he doesn't just wash past vertical.
So there's the final Mountaineer of this round 5. It's Jacob Cardinal Tremblay.
You can see he spends more time getting the momentum of that springboard. It's all about the rhythm and the timing and the balance, keeping your composure, but also utilizing all that the springboard can give you.
There's Owen Johns getting ready for his final dive of this men's 3-meter championship final.
Trying to leave the best dive in the pool, right? Owen Johns looking tremendous on 3-meter. Ending on his back 2.5 somersault tuck, a very strong dive for him. I think he's in a little bit of shock. He's super excited. Stays on the board, tight tuck, shows control. The judges will definitely reward him on that dive, giving him 7.5. So that's 63 total points. A great finish for Owen Johns, the sophomore of West Virginia.
Lenz, 52.
He's definitely excited. He was in 5th coming into this final round. Came into the event 8th after prelims, so looking like he might move up a couple places. Here's his teammate Paul Lenz.
Ending on a back twister. Got a lot of height on the dive, just went a little bit short of vertical.
61.5, 61.5.
2.5 twists to get through, so it's a lot of twisting. And he squares it up, but just leaves his legs a little bit short on the entry. He's rewatching it on the monitor over there, you can see. So he can analyze the dive after doing it. Diving is all about muscle memory. The more you do the dives, the more you watch the dives, the more you visualize them, the better you'll be.
It's the last dive of this men's 3-meter championship final. And still 1 day to go here from Austin, Texas.
Cover also ending with that same dive, that back 1.5 with 2.5 twists, and very beautiful entry, very solid finish for Nick Cover. Gets a lot of height with a tight twist. Beautiful lines. His toe point is one of the best I've seen. His toes are so beautifully pointed as he enters the water, and that's definitely something the judges are looking for when they're giving you a score, and he'll walk away with 7.5 from that dive.
Final Mountaineer in the final round of this men's championship final. A lot of finals there. This is Jacob Cardinal Tremblay.
Also ending with that same back 1.5, 2.5 twist. Very tall, very long, lean lines going into the water. And you can see them as well in the twist. He gets his arms tight to his body, keeps his head up on the entry, and has a solid finish on that back twister.
Rounding out your 4 Longhorns, and then the 4 Mountaineers in 5, 6, 7, and 8 in Johns, Cardinal, Tremblay, Lenz, and Cover. So big points there for the Mountaineers.